Hey folks, Ellie Little here. I want to do three things today. I want to look at the market. I want to look at that progression of the rally off the lows, where we are now, and where we're probably going. So let's pop to the chart here. This is a chart I prepared for the members of this weekend. And essentially, I was telling them is that, this market has gone from here to here, right? 20 something percent. But it was a progression. We all know we had this big drop. This is the bounce, right? The first bounce. Comes in on high volume, sets a big range here. That's where you want to short. If you're a trader, you come into that top, you're going to try and test that top. It's right, 6 bars off the bottom. You're probably going to get some sort of retrace. That's a great place to try and make a short. That's what shorts did. They come down. At this point, in here, you don't know if you're going to get a bottom or not. You don't know if it's going to go all the way back. You don't really know. Odds are you're probably going to see something back into this area, but it didn't happen. That tells you it's stronger than you think when it takes back off. But I would think that this is where you would short again if you want to short. What you know is when it gets up here, right, you're going to get some short covering that creates this pop. But this, most importantly, tells you that you probably got some higher prices coming. You're probably going to go test up here, things of that nature. So that's where you are actually at the point where you can make a risk reward that still makes sense in the direction of a trend change versus what had been happening. Up here, definitely have short covering. Anybody up here that's still short has a real problem. And those that are short are going to support this market. They're going to make the drawbacks minimum. To get back into this gap now is going to be hard. What's coming next? That's the most important thing is rotation, right? Up until now, you've had a lot of push into things that are liquid and things that have high beta. Now you're going to see a push into things that are probably not as high beta, but that are oversold still or still cheap, quote unquote. And what are those things? Well, we can get a sense of that by just going to the reports here, pulling up sector momentum and sorting it by things that are weak. And what we find here is that all the things that are weak, most all the things, are associated with what? Commodities. Even this would be a commodity. What's outside of that? Healthcare, healthcare. This XLV, right, is a good measure of that, at least the large cap healthcare, is an area that may be prime to look at, right? I don't, these just came off big highs. And so I'm not sure that I want to try to go into gold right now. More than likely, gold's going to work its way lower, which I created another video for, or actually have done some tweets. If you want me to do a video on gold, I will. Just pop me a message and I'll do so. But as far as, what's probably going to be rotated to, well, the things that typically aren't hot right now, XLRE, XLP, those are the kind of the safety sectors. Well, the safety sectors are not the ones that are going to run first because why? Well, they're low betas. They're going to be the ones that get rotated to when everything else looks expensive. And so that's going to be a place to play. Now, these particular ones, healthcare, have been quite beaten down. And so the question is there a trade there? So to see that, we can just click here on VHT and take a look. Here's that chart. Here's what it looks like. And lo and behold, what do we got? We got a test of a low, almost a test, not quite, but it's on less volume after a significant sell-off. And what does this look like? It looks like what we just saw, right? Here's the echo bounce. Here's the come down to test again, and you can't break. What is it probably going to happen? It's probably going to come back up here. It's going to find, short sellers again. And if they can't take it down, they're going to take it up. And so this is set up pretty well. And we could go look at the stocks that are in there, or we could just be, lazy and just do this ETF itself. If we go look at XLV itself, what has that done? Well, it's actually undercut, less volume, back up. Same sort of thing. Blow off bottom, echo bounce. You try to break it down, you can't. What does that mean? Well, you're in this range right now, but when it breaks out of this range, it's going up here. And so this is a potential area. Once that rotation starts to kick in, this is going to make it higher. This is a place to play. So I want to bring that to you so that you can see, there's particular stocks inside here. We know, for example, if you've been watching the news at all, UNH has been beaten down extremely hard. I mean, the amount of selling here is extreme. 600 down to 250 roughly. Well, I can't do the math that fast, but that's got to be 60% or so. If I were to break this down here and take it to a daily and see if we got any kind of bottom, well, lo and behold, it looks like we do. And here you have a blow off bottom, right? Massive, massive volume coming in, and you close at the highs, right? A little doji. That tells you you're probably going higher. You see it go higher the next day. This thing's a buy anywhere in this little green zone now, more than likely, right? You set your stop down here, and you're good to go. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to fill the gap. Now, I'm not sure this is the one I'd try to play, but you get the message. This has been driving them down. This is, if you're going to sell XLV or if you're going to sell UNH, you're going to suck XLV down with it because this was the heaviest weighting in it at the time. And when this thing starts to bounce, right, everything else can lift as well. And I suspect that's what you're going to see. So hopefully that gives you an idea. There are others. That's one. Take care. If you like what you see, give me a like, subscribe so you don't miss any of these, and I'll see you next time.